Good morning, everyone. Last class we have started with a new chapter, that is your kingdom classification, in which we have studied about how the things were classified, and finally we have rested on 5 kingdom classification, in which Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae and Animalia, and we have started with one kingdom, that is Monera. Now we begin with the next kingdom, that is the Protista. Protista are single cell eukaryotes, but their boundaries of the kingdom are not well defined. We don't know that how many organisms are coming under this. They do not have any fixed boundaries. Moreover, here one more thing is that they are considered as connecting link between Monera and complex multicellular kingdoms, because these are the ones which lie between the Monera and the fungi, which are multicellular, which could be unicellular or multicellular. Now, members of Protista are primarily aquatic. Being eukaryotes, the Protestant cell body contains a well-defined nucleus and membrane-bound organelles. That means in the first class, in the first kingdom, they were not having any membrane-bound organelles, but here we have a well-defined nucleus as well as other membrane-bound organelles. Some have flagella or cilia, and they can produce both asexually as well as sexually by cell fusion and zygote formation. So the important points are they have well defined nucleus, they have a mode of movement, that is they have cilia or flagella, and one more thing, they reproduce both sexually and asexually. Now this group is divided further into 5 more groups, that is chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, eukaryotes, slime molds and protozoans come under this group. So we will discuss one by one about these groups. The first one is the chrysophytes. They include diatoms and golden algae. Basically, the diatoms comes under this group and the golden algae comes under this group. They have cell walls which are made up of 2 thin overlapping shells which fit together like a soap box. Diatoms, you have seen the shells, the shelled animals. So they have 2 thin which forms like a shell. These walls are made up of embedded with silica, and they cannot be destructed very easily. Wherever they live, they deposit a large amount of the cell wall, and they form a part of the earth which is called as diatomaceous earth. They are used for polishing, filtration of oil and syrups because of the grittiness in the surface. And they are the chief producers in the ocean. So chrysophytes are the diatoms which are the chief producers in the ocean, and because of their gritty surface, they are used for polishing, for purifying, and they give rise to diatomaceous earth, because their skeleton consists of silica which are present, which when these diatoms die, they get embedded in the soil and gives rise to diatomaceous earth. Am I clear? Now we come to dinoflagellates. Some of the dinoflagellates emit light which is known as bioluminescence, and these organisms are basically marine and photosynthetic. So the next one is the dinoflagellates. Flagellates, when we are talking, that means they are having flagella, and they show the phenomena of bioluminescence. Am I clear? They have the phenomena of bioluminescence. They appear yellow, green, brown. They could be a variety of colors depending on the pigment present in their cell. Like the plant, they have a stiff cellulose plates present in the cell wall, and because the name, as the name suggests, dinoflagellates, that means they are having two flagella, one lying longitudinally and other lying transversely. They are responsible because of the pigments present. They are responsible, and I told you that dinoflagellates are generally marine, that they are responsible for red tide. You have studied in geography about red tide. The red colored dinoflagellates are responsible for the red tide. Clear? Now the next group comes as euglenoids. Euglena, you have already studied about euglena, so this comes under euglenoids, and they show mixotrophic nutrition. What is that? Mixotrophic means both kinds of. They could be photosynthetic or they could be your holozoic kinds of nutrition. They do not possess a cell wall, but they have a protein rich layer called pellicle, which makes its body flexible. They also have flagella for movement, and they have one short one and one long flagella present. Though they are photosynthetic in the presence of sunlight, when they are deprived of sunlight, they behave like heterotrophs and feed on other small organisms. That is why they are called as mixotrophic nutrition. The main points, see, the main points have to be written, like dinoflagellates, diatoms. The chrysophytes are made up of diatoms. They are the producers of the ocean and they form diatomaceous earth. Similarly, the dinoflagellates, two flagella presents, and they are bioluminescent. They are marine, they are bioluminescent and are responsible for the red tide. Similarly, the euglenoids are mixotrophic, that is in presence of sun they are photosynthetic, but in the absence of sun they are heterotrophic, that they feed on small organisms. Now the fourth one comes as slime molds. Slimy structures, slippery structure. They are saprophytic in nature. They are saprophytic means they are surviving on dead organisms. They body moves along decaying twigs and leaves and engulfing inorganic material. They also reproduce under suitable conditions, right? And otherwise, and during unsuitable condition, they show spore formation, and because of the spore formation, they can resist extreme conditions and adverse conditions and can survive for many years. Now, the last one among this is, which we have studied, protozoans, amoeba we have discussed about, so you have studied in detail. So here we come with the protozoans. The protozoans are heterotrophs and they live as predators, or they live as parasites. Predators or parasite. They are very primitive. They are thought to be very primitive in nature. Amoeboid protozoans is a name given to the amoeba-like structure which can live in, and they can live in fresh water, sea water, moist soil. And one more thing, that they are very captive, that is they use their pseudopodia to, like amoeba uses the pseudopodia to cover their food. They could be flagellated, that is presence of flagella. They could be ciliated, that is they have cilia present for the movement, for the coordination of the movement. Or they could be sporozoans, that is they form spores during any time of their life cycle. So the protozoans are divided into three, that is flagellated, ciliated, or sporozoans. Am I clear? Okay. Now we come to the another kingdom, as I told you, was the kingdom fungi. The next kingdom is kingdom fungi. They are heterotrophic organism. They could be unicellular, they could be multicellular, they could be several meters in length. Unicellular are filamentous and therefore body consists of long, slender thread-like organism. Most of the fungi are heterotrophs and they absorb soluble organic matter from the dead organism, so they are saprophytes. They may be parasite, they may be symbionts, so the fungi can be unicellular and they show variety of mode of nutrition. Specifically, they are saprophyte, feeding on dead and decaying organisms, or they could be parasites, or they could be symbionts. They reproduce both asexually and sexually. Asexually, they reproduce by fragmentation, fission, or budding. There are many examples we have studied: fragmentation, fission, or budding. Fragmentation, fission, or budding. Whereas in some cases they form spore formation also in your unfavorable condition. In case of sexual reproduction, they have the sexual cycle is there are 3 parts in the sexual cycle, that is fusion of the protoplasm between 2 motile or non-motile gametes called as plasmogamy. The word is called as plasmogamy. The fusion takes place. Then there is karyogamy, that is the fusion of 2 nuclei, and then meiosis. Plasmogamy. Then we have your karyogamy. Karyo stands for nucleus. First the fusion of the cell wall, then the fusion of the nucleus, and then division by meiosis takes place. In some fungi, fusion of 2 haploid cells results in diploid cells. However, in other fungi, there could be 2 nuclei or cell occurs. Dikaryotic occurs, that means 2 nucleons are present, 2 nucleus is present at any moment of time. That is called as dikaryophase of fungus. Later on, the parental nuclei fuses and the cells become diploid. Here also the fungi is divided into various classes, which we will discuss in the next class. Till then, you please study about it. We have studied about fungi which are unicellular, asexual, which are unicellular or multicellular. Unicellular could be small and multicellular are very big, and they show both asexual and sexual mode. In sexual mode, we have 3 parts: plasmogamy, karyogamy, and meiosis. For today, up till now, have a good day.